More than 2 years after convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein mysteriously died in a high-security prison in New York, few details of his alleged underage sex trafficking have been revealed. Will the trial of his former girlfriend and assistant Ghislane Maxwell, which started on Monday, change all that? Well, let's find out as we go busting the narrative. Now, Ghislane Maxwell is facing 6 charges, including enticing underage girls to travel to her boss Jeffrey Epstein's beachside mansion in Miami and to his private island in the Caribbean for the purposes of what the government calls criminal sexual activity. But even before the trial began on Monday, some people in the media were doing their bit to downplay her role in it all. Last year, Netflix released a documentary that suggested Maxwell was just another victim in all this because she was raised by a tyrannical father and was easily manipulated by powerful men like Epstein. And on Monday, Bloomberg News Service said the trial was set to be, quote, one of the biggest of the Me Too era, asking, is Ghislane Maxwell herself a victim? Well, if she was a victim, I'm just going to put it out there, she probably wouldn't have hidden from the FBI when they came to arrest her at a remote New Hampshire house in July last year. Maxwell was denied bail and has remained behind bars since then. Speaking on the Fox News network in the United States, Geraldo Rivera also said this was unfair.
Ghislane Maxwell has been in jail for 17 months for no bail. They gave her no bail. She is sitting in prison prior to trial, accused, get this, of events that happened between 1994 and 1997.
She's a flight risk.
A flight risk.
Why? Well, the worry for the progressive media is this. So many of Jeffrey Epstein's friends were big-time members of the woke establishment. On the first day of the trial, Epstein's former pilot, Lawrence Visosky, who is testifying for the prosecution, said he saw the likes of Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Hollywood stars Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker, violinist Itzhak Perlman, and U.S. Democrat Senators John Glenn and George Mitchell aboard Epstein's plane. He also said he carried Donald Trump on the vehicle, too. All of these people have denied being involved in Epstein's sex parties. But the question remains, why is it that most of what we know about Epstein's sordid activities were originally revealed by journalists and documentary filmmakers? Why is it that only Epstein and Maxwell are the people charged 15 years after the truth began to emerge? Now, last year, to its credit, Netflix also released Filthy Rich, a documentary that said, among other things, that all of the young women being lured to have sex with Epstein and his rich mates were underage, and that, quote, the monsters are still out there. That series, based on a book published in 2016, is a concentration of the many allegations made against Epstein. The FBI was tipped off about all this in 2016, but, according to documents released by the prosecutors in Ghislane Maxwell's case, decided not to investigate. And this, despite an FBI investigation from a decade earlier, which led to an underage prostitution conviction and Epstein being sentenced to 18 months in jail, which he served, by the way, under the cushiest of circumstances for a sex offender. It was only after the Miami Herald ran a series exposing the presence of underage girls at Epstein's mansion that the FBI reopened the case and eventually pressed charges. Epstein escaped facing these allegations because while awaiting trial in jail in August 2019, he died under the most suspicious circumstances. The guards who were meant to check on him every 30 minutes throughout the night fell asleep. Surveillance cameras mysteriously malfunctioned, and Epstein was found dead in the morning despite seeming to be in a upbeat mood, according to his lawyers. It's all very strange, don't you think? I mean, if only the FBI was as interested in this as it is in accusing, say, the parents of school kids who are called domestic terrorists for speaking out at school board meetings, or with raiding independent media outlets for daring to expose the bias of leftist social media platforms. Even CNN is starting to wonder when Epstein's accomplices, or monsters, as the Netflix documentary called them, will be hunted down and charged.
There are a lot of men, deviants, predators, pedophiles, who have not been charged with anything.
But the FBI is not the only Washington institution strangely distracted these days. Yesterday, Joe Biden spoke to a group of America's leading retailers to discuss supply chain problems in the lead-up to Christmas, the biggest shopping period of the year. Before the meeting started, Biden looked up at the ceiling and said,
"Isn't this a pretty place?"
"Whatever you say, Mr. President. Here's hoping that the FBI and other police are not so easily distracted in seeking justice for Epstein's many victims." Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe below, and I'll see you soon for more Busting the Narrative.